Dream to You Episode 6 delivers one of the most emotional and mature chapters of the series so far. Instead of relying on unnecessary misunderstandings or exaggerated drama, the episode focuses on something much more meaningful. It explores guilt, forgiveness, healing, and the difficult reality that sometimes love alone is not enough to fix emotional wounds. After everything that has happened between Yi-jae and Soo-bin, many viewers were hoping this episode would finally bring the couple together. Instead, the writers chose a much more bittersweet direction. The ending is heartbreaking, but it also feels honest because it reflects how both characters have been carrying emotional scars for years. The biggest turning point in the episode comes when Soo-bin finally learns the complete truth about Yi-jae's accident. For a long time, he never fully understood how deeply that moment affected her life. Once he realizes that his own actions changed the course of her future, the weight of that truth completely overwhelms him. Rather than trying to defend himself or search for excuses, Soo-bin accepts the responsibility without hesitation. His guilt becomes almost impossible for him to carry, and every interaction with Yi-jae suddenly feels much heavier than before. One of the strongest aspects of the episode is how it portrays guilt. Soo-bin does not expect immediate forgiveness, nor does he believe that simply apologizing can erase years of pain. Instead, he quietly punishes himself emotionally, believing that he has become another obstacle standing in Yi-jae's path. His silence throughout many of their scenes speaks louder than words ever could. Every glance and every hesitation reveal someone who desperately wants to make things right but has no idea how to repair damage that cannot simply be undone. At the same time, Yi-jae continues confronting her own emotional struggles. While the accident left physical scars, the emotional consequences have been even more devastating. For years, she convinced herself that her dream of becoming a filmmaker had ended forever. More painful than the injury itself was the belief that she had abandoned the future she always wanted. Instead of allowing these emotions to consume her forever, Episode 6 begins showing genuine change. One of the reasons this episode works so well is because it avoids dragging out misunderstandings that could easily have filled several more episodes. Rather than refusing to communicate, Yi-jae and Soo-bin finally begin speaking honestly with each other. Their conversations feel quiet, natural, and emotionally sincere. Neither character is trying to win an argument. Instead, they are trying to understand each other's pain. Yi-jae makes one thing perfectly clear. She does not want Soo-bin's sympathy. She does not want him to spend the rest of his life blaming himself for what happened. What she truly wants is someone who believes in her dream. She wants someone who stands beside her, encourages her, and supports her future rather than constantly looking back at the past. That distinction becomes one of the episode's most powerful messages. Love should not be built upon guilt. It should be built upon trust, encouragement, and the willingness to move forward together. One of the most beautiful scenes arrives when Yi-jae invites Soo-bin to go running with her. On the surface, it appears to be nothing more than a simple exercise session. In reality, it carries much deeper meaning. Yi-jae is showing Soo-bin that the accident no longer defines who she is. She refuses to spend the rest of her life allowing one tragic event to determine her future. Every step she takes represents her determination to keep moving forward instead of remaining trapped by painful memories. That moment also becomes symbolic for Soo-bin. He has spent years emotionally standing still because of guilt. Yi-jae is quietly asking him to begin moving forward as well. Another unforgettable moment comes when Yi-jae openly talks about her dream of becoming a filmmaker once again. Earlier in the series, discussing that dream often brought sadness because it reminded her of everything she believed she had lost. This time, however, the conversation feels completely different. Instead of asking Soo-bin to avoid the topic, she asks him to help her pursue it. That simple request says everything about how much she has changed. She is no longer living only in the past. She is finally allowing herself to imagine a future again. At the same time, she is giving Soo-bin permission to stop carrying the unbearable guilt that has controlled his life for so long. For a brief moment, it feels as though both characters have finally found the emotional breakthrough they desperately needed. That hope makes the ending even more heartbreaking. After struggling with his emotions throughout the episode, Soo-bin finally confesses how he truly feels. His confession is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, vulnerable, and filled with genuine emotion. When he kisses Yi-jae, the moment feels incredibly tender because it represents years of unspoken feelings finally reaching the surface. Many viewers believed this would be the beginning of their relationship. Instead, the story takes another painful turn. Immediately after confessing, Soo-bin reaches a devastating conclusion. Despite loving Yi-jae, he believes remaining by her side would only become another burden she should not have to carry. Instead of allowing himself to embrace happiness, he chooses to walk away. His decision is undoubtedly frustrating. After everything both characters have endured, audiences naturally wanted to see them finally choose each other. However, the ending makes emotional sense. Throughout the series, Soo-bin has consistently placed other people's happiness above his own. His overwhelming guilt prevents him from believing he deserves to remain beside Yi-jae, even after she has begun forgiving both herself and him. Rather than choosing love, he chooses distance because he believes it is the greatest act of kindness he can offer. Whether that decision is actually correct remains another question entirely. The ending suggests that both characters still have important emotional work ahead of them before they can truly build a healthy relationship. This is not a story where love instantly heals every wound. Instead, Dream 2 argues that genuine healing must happen first before two people can fully embrace each other without carrying the weight of unresolved pain. The episode also deserves praise for balancing its emotional storytelling with the supporting cast. Although the second couple receives less attention this time, their chemistry continues adding warmth and charm whenever they appear. Many viewers have become deeply invested in their romance, and even their smaller scenes continue strengthening the overall series. Still, it is refreshing that Episode 6 shifts its primary focus back to Yi-jae and Soo-bin. Their relationship has been waiting for meaningful development, and these episodes finally allow both characters to confront the emotional barriers that have kept them apart. Overall, Dream 2 Episode 6 is less interested in delivering shocking twists than emotional honesty. It reminds viewers that healing is rarely quick or straightforward. Sometimes the hardest choice is not confessing your love, but learning to forgive yourself. Yi-jae begins reclaiming the dream she thought she had lost forever, while Soo-bin starts recognizing the consequences of carrying endless guilt without allowing himself to move forward. The ending may leave audiences heartbroken because the couple does not receive the happy moment many were hoping for. Yet, it also leaves room for hope. Both characters have finally spoken the truth, confronted their deepest emotional wounds, and taken the first real steps toward healing. If the series continues building on this emotional foundation, their eventual reunion could become even more meaningful because it will be built not on guilt or obligation, but on genuine understanding, mutual support, and the courage to move toward the future together.